This is Glenn Hughes, the voice of rock.
Hey everybody, this is Pat Torpy from Mr. Big.
And you're listening to Music Mania.
Good evening! Welcome to our show!
I want you to want me. The dream police. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Your mama's alright, your daddy's alright, but just seem a little bit weak.
Scream for me, Brazil! Scream for me, Brazil!
So let's rock and roll all night, the party every day!
In the words of AC/DC, we roll tonight to the guitar bite. And for those about to rock, I salute you.
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, brought to you by CD Warehouse in Gladstone, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here is your host, Clint Switzer.
Joey, man, I am doing great. I tell you what, it has been way too long since we've connected, man. How's everything been going? What's been new with you, my brother?
Just touring our lovely country.
You sure have. You guys are in the midst of the Dirty 30 tour. I noticed that, like, you guys just in the last couple years, more dates just keep popping up. You guys are, playing more dates. It seems to me like. Is that? Do you enjoy that? I mean, you guys are out there more. The visibility's higher. That's never a bad thing. And you guys are out there doing your thing. That's got to be a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. Everything you said. Yes. I mean, that's what we do for a living. So we're out doing it. People want to see it. That's how it works. If promoters want it and people come to the shows, then there we are. And we've been pulling more people. Sellouts are happening. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun here coming up next Saturday night, October 12th. You guys are going to be in St. Louis. I'm in Kansas City, but I'm making the trek out there. Brett Michaels, you guys in Firehouse at the Family Arena in St. Charles. Man, this is a historic venue. A lot of big shows. Warrant maybe has even been at this venue at some point over the years. It's been around. It's been around a minute, but you guys are going to be here with Brett Michaels, Firehouse. These are two acts that you guys are pop up with, play a lot of dates with. How exciting is it? I mean, you're out there with artists like this that are kind of your ilk, still pulling in really big crowds. This is a really big venue. This has got to be an exciting time. What a show it's going to be coming up here in St. Charles, man, in just about a week.
Yeah, we're fired up, man. We this weekend we're somewhere in Texas, and next week we get on a plane and come over there to St. Charles. So we're fired up. I mean, we've done a lot of shows with Brad. We play with Firehouse all the time. We're all good friends, so it's kind of like just running into people at the office, so to speak. But the office at any time could be, a casino or an arena, whatever it might be that weekend. So we're having a great time, man. Everybody's healthy, happy. The band sounds fabulous right now. Usually later in the year, we tend to sound better because we've been out doing it for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have just, again, a big string of dates. I mean, this has been the Dirty 30 tour, very important. I mean, commemorating the 30th anniversary of your first album. I mean, it's of a time when, every time that I interview someone, I'm looking at the 25th anniversary of this or the 30th anniversary of that. Is it coming to a point? It's like, well, these anniversaries are starting to creep up for Warrant. 30th anniversary of the first album. Is it just crazy to think about? I mean, wow. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little strange to think that, everything that we've done to our bodies, and, most of us are still here breathing, and, it's just unbelievable that we're still out doing it, and actually the band, at this point in our juncture, we're sounding better than we ever have, so that's what's really strange, is that you would think, wow, you probably were at your peak back when you were younger, and a lot, easy. It was a lot easier to move around, and now it's just, the way we sound is amazing to me, from my perspective, because I've got in-ears and I can hear it almost exact every night. So it's just a lot of fun, man.
Well, it is. How important for that is the addition of Robert Mason. He's been with the band 7 or 8 years now. And he's tremendous. One of my favorite singers in rock. I mean, from the things he's done with Lynch Mob. He was in a tremendous project this year called The End Machine. I love everything that Robert is. How important is his vocals, his style, everything that he does to how good you guys are sounding here in 2019?
He's been with us 11 years, so I mean, I've been in the band longer with him than I was in the band with Janie.
Wow.
And Janie, I mean, arguably some huge shoes to fill. When he was at the top of his game, he was amazing. It's really tragic that he's not with us anymore, but it is what it is, and we've got to march on. And when I ran into Robert at a gig, right around the time we were doing the reunion tour with Lane and having some struggles, it was just meant to be. We had a quick conversation. He came down the next morning to meet, everybody, meet up with everybody else. And everybody said the same thing I had said the day before, like, okay, this is the guy, And we didn't know how the reunion was going to turn out, so he's really a pivotal point in this band and very important for us to move forward the way we did because he is so good. He's the consummate professional.
Well, another pivotal point, Joey, 2 years ago, you guys released a studio album, Louder, Harder, Faster, what I thought was just a tremendous album for you guys. And, to solidify yourselves, obviously you're still touring, still putting on tremendous shows, but to release new music like that, it had been 6 years, I think, since you guys had done it. It's coming up, it's been over 2 years since you guys released it. As we look back on it, kind of what was your thoughts on that album and sort of what the reception's been like over the past couple years, and maybe what we could expect going forward from you guys, if anything?
Yeah, it was a great record to make. Making a record for us is always a bit contentious because that's where you really see people want their part of the pie, as far as songwriting goes and who gets what and what goes where and who plays what and, being a two-guitar band. So it gets a little contentious in the studio, but when it all shakes out, as long as the band's still together at the end of the day after you record a record, it's a good thing, and that's what we were able to do with Louder, Harder, Faster. We had a great time making it. Jeff Pilson, who produced it's amazing. Everybody knows him from Dokken. He's also the MD for Foreigner, plays bass in Foreigner. So it was just a blast to make that record. Proud of it, just as proud as I am of any other record I've made with Warrant, and we just continue to march on. So we've started creeping around talking about doing another one. But it's always a slow turn, It's like turning a big liner in the ocean. It's nothing that happens overnight. So hopefully we can get to it. Maybe in the next 12 months we'll see what happens. But we're starting to talk about it. So
awesome.
That's a good thing.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And you guys also are going to be on the Kiss Cruise this year. Is this your first time doing the Kiss Cruise?
It is. We're not big cruisers. Jerry gets sick on the seas no matter what he does, so it's difficult for him to do, and we choose and pick and choose those types of things. So this is one, with Kiss doing their End of the Road tour and everything, when we got the offer from those guys and their friends, it was something that we couldn't pass up. So we're definitely looking forward to that. I think a bunch of us are taking family on that, kind of doubling as a little mini vacation, and then I've got a young son, so I want him to, and it's during Halloween, so we're going to dress up like Kiss and go for it all the way.
That's going to be amazing. I've always thought, because I've been on so many cruises, I think it's so fun. I think it's so different because, and maybe from an artist perspective, it's a little more difficult because you're basically out there just cruising with your fans and you're just kind of hanging out, and there's all sorts of stuff to do all over the ship and in between performances. But is it fun for you guys? Is it like, hey, you get to kind of hang out with the fans more? Is it more difficult as you're trying to kind of enjoy yourselves and your families while they're on the cruise? I mean, it's kind of a different dynamic, isn't it?
It is, but it is what it is. I mean, and to be honest with you, the reason why we're here doing what we're doing is because of the people that enjoy the music and love to see it. So we're an open book, and nobody in this band has a rock star attitude, or we're very approachable. As long as everybody's kind and nice and polite, we're good. That's the only thing we ask, is that if somebody's got a mouthful of food, let them finish chewing before you start talking to them, But it is what it is. People get excited, and we understand that. I get you. I'm a fan of Kiss, so it's kind of like fanboy even though I know those guys and have known them for a long time, I'm still fanboy when I get around around them. You know, just something triggers that feeling I had when I was 13 and first saw them. It's like we played with Cheap Trick this summer, and I hung out with Rick quite a bit, and he was one of my huge influences. So that was just great for me. I felt like I was bugging him, so I backed off, and then he didn't. He said, "No, you're not bugging me." So I hung out more, and then Tom Peterson and I talked. It was just a great time. So we understand it.
I love Cheap Trick, and meet and greets are a big deal for fans these days. So, if you want to make sure that you have a chance to meet the band and have this wonderful moment with them. I actually just did because of this podcast, I get to do a lot of meet and greets, and it's always a good time. And they're structured different ways. I just did the Kiss one a couple weeks ago in St. Louis myself. It was amazing. First time I'd met Kiss. It just something about that is just so fantastic. They just Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley in the makeup and the regalia. It was insane. But you guys do an amazing meet and greet opportunity for your fans too that maybe won't be on the cruise or have a chance to just catch you guys out and about. I mean, this is something that a lot of bands do. I think that you guys do it tremendously. And one of your packages actually includes the ability to do a sound check and play a song with the band during the show. How many times has this actually happened?
It started off of just here's a meet and greet. Everybody's doing it, so we hopped on the bandwagon. And when you're out on the road, you're traveling. It's hard to do things like that. But we finally just said, okay, let's check it out and see if it works for us. So we just started doing meet and greets where we have, okay, here you go. For this price, you get to come backstage and meet the band. And it's not like we stand in front of a scrim and take pictures. It's usually people come back, 8 out of 10 times into our dressing room and hang out and get things signed, and we take a picture in the dressing room and do something like that. But as it grew, we were kind of playing with it. We're like, okay, let's see if anybody wants to buy a signed guitar. And when we started getting those, the next one was, okay, let's see if anybody wants to play at sound check, and they can pick whatever song they want to off the set list for the night. And we let them know ahead of time. And as that grew into, let's see if anybody wants to get on stage live and sing or play Cherry Pie with us. And we've done quite a few of those. So if it's somebody's desire to get up and do that, it's available. And it's fun. It's fun for us because it's different. And we've had all different types up there. We've had hardcore musicians. We've had people that barely know how to play, but you plug them in. Sometimes we've had guys get on stage at arenas, 5,000-6,000 people out there, and it's quite an experience for them. So, yeah, the packages are out there. They're online. We treat people with respect, and we have a good time with it. So there you go.
Absolutely. The website's warrantrocks.com, and I was able to hang out with you guys a little bit. It's actually been a couple years now, and I think you're going to remember this show because it was here in Kansas City, actually St. Joe, about 45 minutes outside of Kansas City, and it was in the summertime, 2017, and it was the worst rainstorm I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know if you remember the show. It was at the Amnesia 2 in St. Joe. You guys came in, and I mean, it was blistering, absolutely unbelievable, damaging storms that were just rampant. And for that hour and a half, nobody seemed to care about the storms. We rocked out, and it was all good. But it's been since then, since I got to see you guys. Looking forward to the show coming up here in St. Charles, man. It's going to be a true pleasure. You guys coming in with, of course, Bret Michaels and Firehouse. Great acts. Joey, always a pleasure to have you on the show, man. And we can't wait to see you guys coming up here on October 12th. It's going to be a great show. Thanks so much for everything you do, and we'll catch up soon again, my man.
All right, Clint. We're looking forward to seeing you. Thanks for the support, buddy.
You bet, Joey. Thanks a lot.
Peace.